Good evening, everyone. Captain Mark Muir of the Community Affairs Bureau. We're here to touch base on a couple of topics. The media release yesterday, where we were updating some of our policies, so we've changed some policies. That release came out yesterday, and we also have an update on the crime at 500 Lyle Avenue with the gentleman that was on fire the other day. So at this point, I'm going to introduce Executive Deputy Chief Andre Anderson, and we'll go from there. Chief?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So this is going to be relatively open because I know there's some questions about what we're doing with our new policies. As you may have seen, we did a press release, and specifically our press release talked about a few policies. Some of them are pending. So, a couple of them have already been released. The policies that we're talking about are mental health, mental hygiene detention, de-escalation, use of force. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit, primarily because we're looking at use of force as considered a response to resistance as well as juvenile detention. But as you know, we've already released the policies on the duty to intervene and the chokehold ban. And specifically, as we speak to those two, you should know that what we release speaks specifically to how all members of the police department, employees of the police department, have a duty to intervene. And we think that's critical. Because we know how important it is for not only the community to see that police officers police themselves, but also to use a level of de-escalation if an officer finds himself in a situation where maybe their escalation is more than we need. Then we want our police officers themselves to intervene and take action. We also have in place measures for police officers that don't intervene. Obviously, if that doesn't happen, we'll be taking a critical look at what transpired because we want to hold ourselves accountable, and I think that's critical as well. So those that involve themselves in an intervention are required to notify a supervisor as soon as possible, and obviously we want our supervisors more involved in taking critical actions with respect to ensuring that we're doing a good job there. We'll also release some information on the chokehold ban. Now, as you probably know, here in Rochester, it's always been a policy with respect to chokehold, and it's never allowed for us to do the chokehold or carotid restraint or any mechanism used to control a person's breathing as they are placed to the ground. But yet, we wanted to memorialize that in a policy. So we created a chokehold policy. As you know, here in New York, there's an aggravated strangulation statute that prohibits the chokehold. So for us, it was important that we use that as part of our reform efforts and to assure to the community that we're transparent. We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And so that's kind of the gist of where we're at right now. There's more to come. We're looking at trying to bring in additional training, but for the most part, you'll see us moving in a progressive manner in order to make changes with our organization. With that being said, before we talk about any other items of policy, I'd like to bring up Captain Frank Umbrino, and he'll